Salam alaikum. Sabah al khair. Ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaba. Who here speaks English? Thank goodness for that. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, and a very warm welcome to the 29th Abu Dhabi International Book Fair. What happens at a book fair? Go. Here you go, talking to this.
A book fair is when people sell books and new items to people who love to read.
Who thinks he's right? Go on, put your hands up. He's right. A round of applause. Right, you come from lovely schools. You are very lucky people. So well done. You've won the lottery of life already. But you've also won because you have great teachers who have organized for you to be here today. And if I know your teachers, they have probably said something along the lines of, when there's a grown-up on the stage, keep calm, don't make any noise, eyes front, don't use your phones, pay attention. Yes, have you been told that? Okay, for 2 seconds, we're going to forget all that. Sorry, teachers. I want you all standing up, please. Because I'm going to introduce a man who is an author. What does an author do? Excellent. An illustrator. What does an illustrator do? Draws things. And what else do you do?
Animator.
Animator. Ah, he's an animator. What does an animator do? Short version. An animator makes the animation of drawing. What do you think an animator does? Draws cartoons and makes them move. Is that right?
That's pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Well done. So, for 2 seconds, Curtis is an amazing man. He's got a lot of energy. He's done a lot of things you would have heard about. So we need to give him a really big welcome because, as you can see, he's quite old. When you get close to him, he's quite smelly, but he's also very deaf. He can't hear. So I need you to make an enormous amount of noise because this is a very big building. And if you make enough noise, then all the noise goes upwards and it takes the roof off. So what we need is for you to make so much noise that we blow the roof off the National Exhibition Centre. Are you happy to do that with me? Brilliant. Okay, so what I want you to do, when I say 3, 2, 1, I want you to clap your hands, stamp your feet, and just scream as loudly as you can. Are you ready? Are you happy to do this with me? Yeah. 3, 2, 1, stamp your feet, go! Oh, my goodness me. Really? You're rubbish. That's pathetic. What happened with you guys in blue and white? There was nothing. So we do it again. Last time. 3, 2, 1, as much noise as you can possibly make! Excellent. So now you know what to do when I say you may sit down now for a second. When I say, ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a warm welcome to Curtis Jobling? That's what I want you to do. Stand up, scream and shout, and we give Curtis a warm welcome to the Abu Dhabi International Book Fair stage. Are you happy to do this with me? I love you all. Thank you very much indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a huge welcome to Curtis Jobling!
Thank you, Paul. I do like a nice, calm introduction. Yeah, that's me on the screen. My name's Curtis. Good morning, boys and girls. I am an author and an illustrator, as Paul just did mention. Very quickly, just covering what he just said. An author is somebody who writes books. Very good. So an illustrator is somebody who draws pictures. That's right. I colour in for a living. It's not a real job. You can make money out of it. I write picture books. But I also make kids' TV shows. I'm an animator, okay? Animation is bringing things to life that aren't real through moving pictures. We show one after another, and the pictures on a TV screen will come to life, okay? There are 3 different ways that we do animation. There is drawn animation, computer animation, and puppet animation. Drawn animation is a series of drawings filmed back to back. We show one after another, and the characters come to life on your TV screen. Okay, can anybody put your hand up if you can give me an example of a hand-drawn, cartoon animated TV show? A TV show that is done with drawings coming to life. Can anybody give me an example of that? Yes, young man? Gumball. Gumball. Well, Gumball uses drawn animation, but it also uses live action, computer, and puppets as well. I can think of a couple beginning with the letter S. Ruby, Ruby, Roo. What would that be? Scooby-Doo, yeah, impressions as well. Another one beginning with the letter S. Who lives in a pineapple under the sea? Thank you for adding SquarePants on the end there as well, just in case I was going to confuse that SpongeBob with another one out there. I appreciate it's a terribly common name in Abu Dhabi. All done with drawn animation, but there's one guy to thank for this. Many years ago, a filmmaker by the name of Walt Disney. When Disney was a young man, he made a short black and white film called Steamboat Willie. Don't giggle, it's not a rude word, steamboat. It features a mouse on a boat, whistling as he goes along. The mouse was? Mickey. Off the back of that, he started making films. Pinocchio, Snow White, Sleeping Beauty. That's drawn animation. Computer animation, everything's created inside of a computer. We don't use cameras. There's no need for them. Okay, it's the dark arts. The most famous computer animation studio in the world is undoubtedly Pixar. You guys all know those Pixar films, yeah? Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Ratatouille, WALL-E, Up, Incredibles, Brave, Monsters, Inc., Inside Out. Those films win the Oscars. They win the BAFTAs. Everybody wants to work at Pixar. I have friends who work at Pixar, but it's really hard to get a job at Pixar because Pixar only hire the best of the best writers, the best illustrators, the best animators. If you're not good enough to work for Pixar, that's when you have to go and work on Shrek as punishment. Nobody wants that. The last sort of animation, the kind that's nearest and dearest and closest to my heart, is called puppet animation. Don't be misled by the word puppet. It is not a puppet on a string, nor is it a glove puppet. It's model animation. Sometimes we call it stop frame or stop motion animation. Sometimes it's claymation, when your model is made out of plasticine. Now, we know what we're talking about here. We have a model of a character this big. It stands on a set top without falling over. There are no strings. There's no glove. The animator takes a photo, a frame of animation. They step back in, they move the puppet a tiny amount, they step away and take another photo. They're back, they move, they step, they 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 photo. It's repetitive. It's time-consuming, it's painstaking. This goes on over the course of the day until it feels like the animator's soul has departed his or her body. And at the end of the day, they're lucky if they've got 10 seconds of work done. That would be a good day's work. Puppet animation, it is not a puppet on a string. High on a hill sits a lonely goat herd. It's not that. Nor is it a glove puppet where you shove your fist up a frog's bottom and work his mouth. It's not that. Can anybody give me an example of a famous stop-motion puppet animated character, film, or TV show? Can anybody give me an example? Yes, my dear. What was that? Coraline. Very good, yeah. Coraline's a good example. Have we all seen Coraline? Some of you may have seen it, the puppet animated film, yeah? There's a great tradition of preschool shows made this way in Britain, where I come from. When I was little, there were shows on TV such as Bagpuss, Camberwick Green, and Trumpton. It might sound like I'm speaking in tongues, but I promise you, these shows really existed. And then there were shows like Bob the Builder, Fireman Sam, and Postman Pat. And there are still shows made this today as well. Rasta Mouse, Rah Rah the Noisy Lion, okay? Wallace and Gromit. Have you heard of Wallace and Gromit? Some of you have seen those characters. At the back, yeah, very good, the big kid, yeah? And there's feature films made this way, okay? Films like The Nightmare Before Christmas, Coraline, Paranorman, Kubo and the Two Strings. They're all done with puppets. Now, I'm lucky I get to work with all those areas of animation, but it's puppets that I work with more than any other. And there is one particular character I'm probably best known for. That character would be Bob the Builder. I am the designer of Bob the Builder. I am talking about the original Bob the Builder, by the way, not the horror show that is currently on your TV sets. I'm very proud to say I've got nothing to do with that. However, the original Bob, I'm the designer of it. Everything you see on the show from day one, I'm the guy who designed it from scratch. It was a blank piece of paper. I had to design the characters, the sets, everything that Bob interacts with. It could be a bucket, a spade, a hand grenade. If Bob needs it, I draw it, we build it, we animate it. And that's the first version of Bob I ever did. It's not a million miles away from the character that you boys and girls grew up with, but I had to make some changes. The feet were too small. He kept falling over. We gave him big work boots. The hands were too small. He couldn't pick up and hold his tools. We gave him big mitts. Next off, the moustache. I thought I was being clever, giving him a mo. The reason being is this. If you think of Wallace and Gromit, when Wallace speaks, more cheese, Gromit, his mouth goes all over the place. We have to change that mouth shape every time the character speaks. It's called lip synchronization. 24 times a second, we rip the mouth off, we replace it with a new mouth shape, okay? We don't need to do that, though, if our character has a moustache, because when he speaks, all you need to do is waggle the moustache. It's a cheat. It was a shortcut. I was being clever. Too clever for my own good, though, because the boss of the BBC pointed out preschool boys and girls are scared of facial hair. The BBC have done research into this. That's where your license fee went, Paul. I don't know what that research involves, but I do have a rather unhealthy imagination. I like to imagine the chief exec of the BBC, a lovely old lady, hiding in some bushes outside a preschool, wearing a fake beard. When the kids walk past at home time, she leaps out and shouts, "Boo!" which would scare me as well, so Bob had a shave, the moustache went. Last of all, I said we're going to get big laughs. Let's give him a nice big fat pair of sideburns. He takes his helmet off. He's completely bald. They said, please, give him hair. I said, trust me, it's really funny. They said, do you want to work on this show? I said, I'll give him a wig. And that's how Bob came into being. And I started work on Bob in 1997. I finished work on Bob in 2007. Bearing in mind, I colour in for a living. My powers of maths are rudimentary at best. But to me, Bob is roughly 22 years old. He is an awful lot older than you, but he's a lot smaller. He's that big. That's how big the puppet is for Bob the Builder. And Bob has made millions and billions of dollars the world over. A huge success. It's not made in Hollywood like many people think. No, far more glamorous than that. Manchester, England. It's a British show that sells all over the world. If you want to do what I do for a living, put your hand up if you want to be an author. Hands up if you want to be an author. Put your hands up if you want to be an illustrator. Draw pictures for a living. Anybody? Put your hands up if you want to make films, be an animator. A few of you as well. Here's a trick. Keep your hobby. Keep your hobby, the thing that you love doing in school and at home, nurture it. Take it as far as you can. Everything I do in my career is born out of the hobbies I had when I was your age. Okay? I loved drawing, I loved reading, I loved watching cartoons. Okay? Maybe you enjoy getting on a stage, song, dance, musical instruments, jazz hands. Keep your hobby. Maybe you enjoy painting, sculpture, model making, illustration. Some of you boys may be into fashion. We're not here to judge. Keep your hobby. At the very least, you have a worthwhile pastime for the rest of your life. And at the most, you can also make a living doing the thing that you love. Not everybody gets to do that in life. I'm very lucky. Bob's one of my characters. There are others. A few years ago, there's a TV show I made called Frankenstein's Cat. And it was based upon a picture book that I wrote and illustrated. The other character I'm known for is on TV at the moment. If any of you have got little brothers or sisters who watch the BBC cartoon, does anybody watch the CBeebies shows from the UK? Yeah? Some of you do. You may have seen him, okay? His name is Ra-Ra the Noisy Lion. I am his dad. I am the creator of Ra-Ra. I am the designer of Ra-Ra. And I write a few of the episodes of Ra-Ra as well. There he is, see? He's not very big at all, is he? All hairy and smiley. Yeah, there's Ra-Ra as well. What we're going to do in this session is I'm going to show you very quickly how we draw one of the characters, okay? But that's not really the reason why I'm talking to you guys today. These days, I actually write books for older children, fantasy and horror. We're going to get onto that very shortly as well. Now, designing characters for animation and picture books, it's all about playing with simple shapes. It's not rocket science. So, in the case of Bob the Builder, all the characters of Bob the Builder, all the human characters anyway, they're all identical. Not at first glance, but look below the surface. They all have round heads and egg-shaped bodies. To create different characters, all I need to do is give them different clothes to wear. Hats, wigs, shirts, and shoes. So in the case of Bob, he's got that round head and the egg-shaped body. Does that look like Bob the Builder? No? Let's put a line across there. That line would be his hat. Very good, okay? There's the rim of the hard hat, and there's the peak of the helmet. All we do then is fill in the blanks. Eyes, nose, mouth, ears, sideburns. There's his arms. He has that check plaid shirt. There's his hands, so he doesn't drop his tools. There's his belt, so he doesn't drop his trousers. You don't want that on the BBC. There's his feet, so he doesn't fall over. That's how we draw Bob. If that's Wendy, how do we draw Wendy? Wendy is exactly the same. She's just dressed slightly differently. She's got a big round head. She's got an egg-shaped body, just like Bob. Eyes like Bob, nose like Bob, mouth like Bob, ears like Bob. We'll put her hands on her hips. She's had a row with Bob. Left his muddy boots on the carpet again. So far, it could be Bob. To make it Wendy, the only thing we need to do is two little things. First of all, an earring, which Bob does not wear. Apart from weekends, that's another story we don't need to go into right now. There's 4 pieces to the fringe. 1, 2, 3, 4, a ponytail and a red ribbon. Okay, there's Wendy. Pilchard the cat is really easy. Pilchard is just 2 ovals. That's all we need. And an S-shaped tail. Then we need 3 of Pilchard's 4 legs. I don't bother drawing the 4th. Your brains are clever. They fill in the blanks. They tell us that the 4th leg is back there. That works just fine. 3 triangles give you the stripes on the body. 5 stripes on the tail. What's missing? Ears that listen, eyes that look, nose that sniffs, mouth that eats, and whiskers that tickle. And that's Pilchard. One of the things you may not know about my dear little friend Bob, though, is this. When the moon is full, strange things happen. A transformation takes place. His clothes tear, and a thick, unsightly fur covers every inch of his short, fat, hairy body. Admittedly, so far it could just be a drawing of me. However, his hands become clawed, as do the toes on those short, fat, hairy hobbit feet. He gets a big fat monobrow. Hair covers every inch of his head and his face and his cheeks and his jowls and his chin and his lips. The last thing to change, though, is his mouth, which transforms from a happy smile into a maw of razor-sharp teeth, a shining portcullis of deadly, perfect ivory. Because as we all know, Bob the Builder is, in fact, a member of the Bee Gees. That'll mean nothing to you, but he's laughing, and that suits me fine. He is, of course, a werewolf. Thank you, young man. That smooth, seamless segue brings me towards a thing that I really want to talk to you about, and that's my writing for older children. I'm going to start by showing you a trailer for the Werewolf books. Hopefully, this will play, but you never know with the computers.
When the air is clear, 16-year-old Drew Ferron can pick up the scent of a predator. When the moon breaks through the clouds, a terrifying fever grips him. His flesh turns, his fingers become claws, and Drew transforms. Can Drew battle the were-creatures determined to destroy him and master the animal within?
Thank you. For many years, I've had a bit of a dream job working in film and TV, okay? But it wasn't my dream job. I always wanted to write books for older children. My love of writing is unsurprisingly born out of my love of reading. My love of reading started at my local public library when I was about 2 or 3 years old, and I remember it well. Okay, whilst my mum was off in the romance section digging out the latest Catherine Cookson, I was left rummaging around in the picture books, and I found one book that to this day has stayed with me as one of my favourites of all time. Maurice Sendak's Where the Wild Things Are. It was the first book I fell in love with, and I never looked back. By the time I was 8, 9 years old, I was back in the local library choosing the first novel of my own volition, and that was The Hobbit by Tolkien. And that was the first novel I fell in love with, and it was also the first fantasy book I ever read. By the time I got to high school, when I was in year 7, 8, 9, my friends and I would get together once or twice a week to play Dungeons & Dragons, a role-playing game. My friends couldn't be bothered learning the rules. Therefore, it was left to Muggins here to learn the rules. Therefore, I ran the games. But that's where I learned to tell a tale and spin a yarn, by playing these games and hobbies with my friends. And there's that word again, hobby. I don't have any qualifications to write books, yet somehow, in the last 11 years, I've had as many novels published. I understand books because of my love of reading. I understand storytelling because of the games and hobbies I had when I was your age. You may have your favorite books, your favorite authors, your favorite characters. You may be a Harry Potter fan. I believe there are a few of them out there. Other books are available. You may be a Percy Jackson fan. That's another fine series. You may even, and I'll try not to hold it against you, you may even be a Twilight fan. 3 words, vampires shouldn't sparkle. Let's just leave that there. In each of these cases, these are fantasy characters living in a real-world setting. Werewolf is not. Werewolf is a fantasy world. It owes more to the world of The Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones. In fact, when this was launched at San Diego Comic-Con in 2011, it was described as Game of Thrones for teenagers featuring werewolves. Kind of a good description, and that description has stuck. Okay, it's a world where the royals, the nobles, the blue bloods who rule over the humans are known as the werelords, shapeshifters who can change into different beasts. King of the realm is Leopold. He rules it with an iron fist, or an iron paw, as the case may be. He is a were-lion. There's Duke Bergen, lord of the woodland realm of Brackenholm. He is a bear lord. Lady Gretchen, destined to marry the king's son. Spoilt princess, the fiery temper and red hair. She is a were-fox. You can see where we're heading. In the mountains, we have the stag lords of Stormdale. The spies of the king in every court of the land are the were-rats. There is a buccaneer pirate prince, Count Vega, captain of the Maelstrom, the fastest ship in the sea. I won't tell you what he is, but you may be able to guess. But the story follows Drew Ferron, a young boy becoming a young man, okay? He's a shepherd boy. He looks after sheep, which is ironic, because at night, slowly but surely, he is becoming the wolf. He is the last in line of the grey wolves of Westland and the rightful king of the realm. and it's Drew's story as he's traced across the realms by any number of warlords. Some of them are good, but most of them are aligned to the king that determines to see the wolf put to the sword. There are 6 books in this series. It is epic fantasy horror. It's fantasy with a big F, it's horror with a smaller h. But as the series progresses, the horror stakes get ramped up along the way. 6 books, okay? The first book in the series is Rise of the Wolf. When it was published in 2011, it was shortlisted for the Waterstones Book Prize. A huge deal for me. It was my debut novel. Since then, I have become a full-time novelist. These are the American covers we can see on the screen, okay? The US jackets are slightly different to the UK ones. The British ones, we see this flip device, okay, where we see the hero and what it turns into on each cover as well. Now, how are you guys at quizzes, book quizzes and stuff like that, and literary quizzes? Are you any good at them? Don't worry, this bears no resemblance to a literary quiz. Hairy man or wolf man? I'm going to show you some extreme close-ups of furry faces from film, television, pop music. I want you to tell me, are we looking at the face of a hairy man or a wolf man? Could it be any easier? Let's see how we get on, okay? First up, hairy man or wolf man? Hairy man, yeah, that was very easy, wasn't it? We're looking at C6 Steve there. Next up, hairy man or wolf man? Wolfman, very good. That's the American werewolf in London. Next one. Hairy man or wolfman? We already know, don't we? Yeah. It's Taylor! Yeah, absolutely. He's a little bit of both. He can't quite decide what he is in many ways, shapes, and forms. Next up. Hairy man or... This is very slow, this clicker. It's not working, okay? Do you have any batteries that work in the clicker? There we go. Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, not quite. I don't know what your dad looks like. If it's anything like that, we're in trouble. Where's the screen gone? There we go. Yeah, it's Oz from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, a little bit of both. Yeah, admittedly, it's just Gorgeous George in need of a shave. Hairy man or wolfman? Wolfman? Who is it? Wolverine. It's Wolverine. Thank you, young man. Yeah, it's Wolverine. Hands up for hairy man. Hands up for wolfman. Those of you who think Wolverine's a wolfman, can I just point out, a wolverine is kind of irritable, bad-tempered North American badger. It doesn't have any wolf in it whatsoever. Neither does dear old Wolverine. He is irritable, he is bad-tempered, but he's just a hairy man with fantastic, award-winning sideburns. Okay? He is a mutant. He is not a wolfman. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? What do we think? Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, you're right. It's just Mr. Spock in need of his eyebrows trimming. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? This clicker does not work. What are we looking at? Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, you're right. Yeah, it's just Jack. Okay. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, you're right. It's Gandalf. Have you got one that has batteries? Okay, it is. It's Gandalf. Okay. Next up, hairy man. Are you pressing buttons there as well? I'll just use this. Okay. Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, you're right. It's just Gandalf's friend. Okay. Hairy man or wolfman? Wolfman, that's the bearded lady. She take great offence at that. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, not quite. It's the wolfman, okay? It's Teen Wolf. Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, not quite. It's the Howling. It's a wolfman. Hairy man or wolfman? Hairy man, you're right. Just Jack, still scary. Hairy man or wolfman? Wolfman, that's Beardy Potter. Come on now, pay attention, okay? Next up, hairy man or wolfman? The wolfman! Sorry, okay? The Wolfman, yeah, very good. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? The Brad Pitt! Sorry, okay, yeah, okay. Next up, hairy man or wolfman? Finally, Jack Nicholson as a wolfman. Now, have a look online. Finally got through that presentation with a clicker that doesn't quite work. Have a look online. WereWorldSeries.com. This is the official website for the books. All the content you'll find on there is exclusively provided by myself as the author and my editorial team at the Penguin in New York and London. You can download extracts from each book in the series, try it before you buy it, see if it's a fit. It should be. This is a middle grade novel series, okay? It is the same audience as Harry Potter and Percy Jackson, okay? That's what we're looking at here. That said, we do have as many adults reading this series as we do middle graders and teens. Fantasy, if it is written in such a way, should appeal to any audience. Wereworld is no different, okay? The female characters in my book, it's not just for boys, by the way, lads and dads, it's for mums and daughters as well. The female characters kick butt just as well, if not better, than the male characters. It's very important to me with 3 little girls at home. Yes, there are scenes of horror, there are gory battles, there are transformation scenes where heads, limbs, and jawbones get ripped or bitten off, left, right, and center, but there are also quieter, more thoughtful, tender moments where Drew, our hero, finds himself in something of a love triangle. Yeah? Don't worry, boys, I don't do romance. However, have you ever had that feeling where you look across the yard and think, oh, she's lovely, I'm going to go and say something clever? And you go over, yeah? You go for a bit of a boogie, yeah? But the closer you get, the more nervous you become, like your tummy is full of butterflies, or maybe you've had a bad omelette. That's what we're talking about. It's not a lovey-dovey, kissy-missy romance. It's more the feeling that your breakfast is about to make a sudden and savage reappearance. Okay? You've also got, character descriptions on the website as well, and there's a map you can explore. The map is interactive. It features in the front of each book in the series. A fantasy world benefits from having that map because you don't know north from south and east from west. However, on the website, as I say, it's more interactive. The yellow symbols are full moons. If you scroll over those, it will tell you who the warlords are that rule the different realms. It will give you a clue where the series is heading before Drew and the books have even got there. Okay? There's a quiz on the website as well. You can answer a series of questions, find out what kind of warlord you would be, which pack you would belong to. And there's the official Facebook page as well. None of you lot should be on Facebook yet. However, when you're old enough to, pop along, say hello. I'm very good. I get back really quickly as well. That's the cover for Storm of Sharks. That's the 5th book in the series. He's one of the good guys, by the way. Never judge a book by its cover. Haunt, Dead Scared. It's set a world away from Weir World. It's set within our world, okay? And its sequel, Dead Wrong. It's basically set in my old high school in the north of England, where I'm from. This, like Weirworld, is presently being developed into a TV series, by the way. Keep your eyes peeled. If you like watching TV shows, keep your eyes peeled because Weirworld is now presently in development and we're in talks with Netflix about turning this into a series as well. It's a ghost story, but it's a comedy ghost story, okay? About 2 best friends, Will and Dougie. And Will and Dougie are the best friends. They go everywhere together. They're joined at the hip, okay? It's yin and yang, okay? But wherever Will goes, Dougie follows and vice versa. But their friendship is tested to its limit in the opening book, when Will is killed in a hit-and-run accident. But he's not finished with Dougie, he comes back and haunts him. And that friendship is at the heart of the story. I'm going to show you a trailer for this book now. The book is a black comedy. It's funny and it's also scary. For the book trailer, kids at my old high school produced this, okay? This shows you what you can do. If you get a camera in your hand, what you can do. It was so good that my publishers, Simon & Schuster, made this the official book trailer for the series. Now, the job of a book trailer is to grab the audience's attention. We could have shown you 60 seconds of funny scenes, but first and foremost, it's a ghost story. So that's what we concentrate on. Hopefully, the video is going to play now, okay? This is the book trailer for Dead Wrong.
It had just gone 9. The church bells tolling nearby. I had to get to Dougie's house. My good news couldn't wait. Not that my best mate would believe me. Of course he'd call me a liar, accuse me of having Munchausen syndrome, maybe a head trauma. I'd never forget that chill November evening. Something had turned my world upside down. It had blown my tiny mind. We're talking Death Star explosion here. It looked like an exciting new chapter in my life was about to begin. Then again, fate can be a fickle beast.
There you go. So you can see how these books change as well. What we see on the video for the book trailer is what definitely happens in the book as well. It should get you fired up. I'm going to close this session by doing a reading from Weirworld, okay? I should point out as well, you see a little bookstall out there? Magrudy's books are supplying my novels for sale. You can get the Haunt books and also the Weirworld books. If you get them today, whilst I'm here, after this session, I'm going to be outside. I'll be signing the books. I'll be dedicating them. I'll be drawing monsters in the front for you as well. Now, I'm going to give you a reading from the beginning of Weirworld. Okay, it's the first book in the Weirworld series. This is from the 3rd chapter. This will give you a clue just how quickly Drew's world is turned upside down and upon its head in a short space of time. Drew is a shepherd boy. He lives far away from the world of the Warlords. He knows nothing about them. However, at night time, he's getting growing pains. Put your hands up if you guys get growing pains where your legs are aching and your bones are hurting. Anybody here? You're growing up, so it does happen, doesn't it? These are the worst, though. His insides are on fire. He doesn't know why. It's because he's slowly turning into the wolf. It's never happened before, but it's about to happen this night. Feeling ill as he does, Drew stays behind at the family farm whilst his father, Mac Ferron, goes to the nearby market town to sell their wares. Drew stays at home convalescing with his mum, okay? He's quite happy with that. He loves his mum Tilly very much. He's a bit of a mother's boy. So he stays at home being nursed. Day becomes night. His father has not yet returned from the market. As a storm hits the cold coast and lightning flashes and thunder rains overhead, Drew and his mother look out the farmhouse window into the storm. They see a shape bounding through the darkness, through the rain towards a house. They back away from the window as the frame buckles. The glass shatters, the wind and the rain blows through the house, and the fire in the hearth splutters out. They see a shape rise from the wreckage of the window frame. It has a thick, shaggy pelt, a long snaking tail, broad jaws, jagged teeth, and great long claws. It goes to attack Drew and his mother. Drew grabs his father's sword from over the fireplace. He goes to defend his mother from the beast, only for it to smash it to the ground in one fell swoop. Tilly thinks her boy has been killed. She steps over his body protectively, as any mother would, only for the beast to backhand her through the house. She lands with a crunch on the kitchen table as Drew slowly comes to. Twitching and shuddering, Drew could only watch on as the monster sent his mother crashing into the kitchen. As it followed, all Drew wanted was the strength to rise and attack the beast, to bring it down, but he was paralyzed by an unfathomable weakness that had now consumed him. The creature slowly advanced into the kitchen, drawing out the inevitable. It stepped through the chaos, wind cloaking it with rainwater as it shambled up to the table. Tilly whispered the word no over and over, again and again, but she knew this was her end. There was nothing she could do to stop the monster. I thought I was safe from you, she mouthed, though the words found no volume. I thought you'd never find us. The animal snarled a grin and mouthed a single word, never. Then it closed its jaws around her throat. Indescribable fear raged through Drew's body as he watched the nightmare scene unfold. He closed his eyes, willing his limbs to move, but was instead assailed by a feverish spasm. It started in his guts, as before, but worse, much worse. He felt his insides tearing, fighting, not to pull free from his body, but twisting about and finding fresh homes. His bowels seemed to rise from the pit of his belly and shift further back, while his lungs grew threefold, great gasps of air racing into his chest. As his lungs grew, so did his rib cage, straining at first before cracking and popping, chest expanding as his ribs took a new shape, the pain unbearable. He gritted his teeth as he felt the pressure grip his skull like a vice. The strain increased. Drew thought his eyes might burst from their sockets. He felt his gums tear as his teeth worked themselves free. His arms came up before him, but he could only stare in horror as his hands distorted, stretched and elongated, nails tearing from fingers into great long claws. Hair shot from his flesh, up his arms and from his chest, as he felt his mind threatening to slip away. His skull cracked under the pressure as his jaw dislocated, a muzzle breaking out. His eyes hazed over, yellow and baleful, as he looked up from where he crouched. He let out a low growl, almost inaudible over the sound of the storm, but the monster heard him. Before the beast could move, Drew leapt forward in a single bound. Though clearly stronger and a seasoned killer, the beast let slip its guard in a panic, and Drew's jaws snapped over its skull. He yanked the beast's head back with a sharp, savage motion, and with the ragged tear, the flesh came with it. Letting loose a screech of pain, the monster struck back, a clawed fist hitting Drew hard in the chest. The force of the blow sent the boy tumbling back, crashing into a dresser in an avalanche of crockery. Looking up from where he lay in a heap, Drew saw the creature rise. Ragged breaths escaped its mouth as moonlight streamed in through the kitchen window, illuminating the damage Drew had dealt it. The right-hand side of its face was missing, revealing torn sinew and cartilage slick with black blood. Bare skull caught the light, a crescent of bone that arched around the eye socket like a bright white sickle. Snarling, the monster let the remainder of its lips peel back, emitting a gurgling growl. Raising its hands, it let its claws play against one another, long black talons that clicked and clacked in anticipation. It hunched its shoulders, legs crouching, muscles flexing, as it prepared to pounce upon the boy. A noise from the front of the house made the beast stop, its head bobbing as it listened intently. It looked back at the strange, helpless creature at its feet before turning and diving through the kitchen window. Sheet glass fell from the frame as the beast vanished into the stormy night. Struggling to regain his composure, Drew fought to get to his feet. While he climbed, he could feel his body shifting, twisting again as the human self returned. The hairs that covered his body receded, disappearing beneath his skin, as his bones and muscles reverted back to their natural state. The last to crack back into his position was his muzzle, as he looked down upon his lifeless mother. Laid out as if on a mortician's slab, Tilly Ferren stared up at the ceiling through dead eyes. Unable to hold back the tears, Drew bent low, taking his mother in his hands and lifting her head until they were cheek to cheek. Tears streamed down his face as he sobbed in silence. It's not Bob the Builder, is it? Poor old Drew. His world is turned upside down in the third chapter of the book. If you want to read these books, I'm sure your school libraries have copies of them, and if not, I'm sure they can get them as well. Have you enjoyed this session, boys and girls? Fabulous. Those of you who want to get the books, I'm going to be out there now doing a book signing. Okay, all of these books are available. Come out there, have a look. I'll sign, dedicate them, draw monsters in as well. For now, I'm going to hand you back to the lovely Paul Blizzard. Thank you, boys and girls.
Thank you, Curtis. Thank you, Curtis. Ladies and gentlemen, do you remember this man's name? Okay, say after me, Curtis. All of you. You at the back as well. Are you ready? Say this, Curtis. You got it. So he's going to be signing books just out here for the next 5 minutes. So if you want to go and buy a book and get Curtis to have it sign it for you or draw a monster in the front for you, now is the time. In 3 minutes' time, teachers, Baby Shark will be performing on this stage. So if you can have your children back here for 2 or 3 minutes' time, that would be very helpful indeed. Have you had a good time so far? Are you looking forward to see Baby Shark? No. You will be very shortly. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back very shortly. Thank you.
Big hello! That's better, that's much better. Right, now I'm going to need your help here because I'm looking for my friend. Do you know what my friend is called? Well, he's called Pink Fong, and he's bright pink, he has big pointy ears and a gold crown. Have any of you seen him? Yes? No? I'm very confused. Okay, well, I'm still looking, so I've got a bit of a plan here, okay? I think if we all shout out Pink Fong all together really, really loud, he might come out. Can we do that? Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Pink Fong! I don't think that was loud enough, boys and girls. Look how many of you there are. I want us to shout really, really loud and try and raise the roof. Are we ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. Boys and girls, you've done it. Look who it is. Ping Fong, I've been looking for you everywhere. Boys and girls, can we give Ping Fong a big wave? He's been really excited to see all of you. Oh, Ping Fong. Hold on a second. I think we're missing somebody. Who could we possibly be missing? Shall I give you a clue? All right. So it goes do 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 do. Sorry? Baby Shark? Do you think Baby Shark wants to come and play? You do? Right, let's shout Baby Shark. Ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Almost. One more time, really loud. 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's Baby Shark. Woo! All right. Good work, boys and girls. Come on in, Baby Shark. Right. Now the gang is all together. I think there is only one thing that we can possibly do. Boys and girls, stand up on your feet. Shake your arms and legs around. All right. Fantastic. Now, we're going to sing one very special song, and I think we all know the actions. Are we ready? Are we ready? All right, here we go. Oh. What's coming, do we know? Here we go. Can we all clap our hands? All right. Here we go.
Shark do-do-do-do-do, baby shark do-do-do-do-do, baby shark do-do-do-do-do, baby shark. Mommy shark do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark do-do-do-do-do, mommy shark.
Daddy shark do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark do-do-do-do-do, daddy shark.
Grandma shark do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark do-do-do-do-do, grandma shark.
Grandpa shark do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark do-do-do-do-do, grandpa shark. Let's go hunt do-do-do-do-do, let's go hunt do-do-do-do-do, let's go hunt do-do-do-do-do, let's go hunt.
Here we go.
Run away do-do-do-do-do, run away do-do-do-do-do, run away do-do-do-do-do, run away. Safe at last do-do-do-do-do, safe at last do-do-do-do-do, safe at last do-do-do-do-do, safe at last. It's the end do-do-do-do-do, it's the end do-do-do-do-do, it's the end do-do-do-do-do, it's the end.
All right, boys and girls, give yourselves a big clap. That was fantastic. I think everyone joined in. That was marvellous. Right, Ping Fong, Baby Shark, are we ready to go back? We've got to go see some more children, but we will see you all very, very soon. And you enjoy the book fair. Bye, boys and girls. Here we go. Come on, guys. Let's go see who else we can find for our adventure.